What turned a young boy into the undisputed king of pop? And why did that very fame become his strangest and loneliest prison? The story of Michael Jackson goes beyond a musical legend, and today, we want to unravel its mystery in English. Let's get started. A thick fog had enveloped the green meadows of Neverland Ranch. Michael stared from his bedroom window at the small cottage in the distance, a place once filled with children's laughter. Now, a deathly silence ruled his dream kingdom. He placed his hand on the cold glass, watching the reflection of his face, transformed by years of plastic surgery. He was the king of pop, but in this vast palace, he was just a frightened little boy, still trembling from the shadow of his father. The sound of the Ferris wheel chains, set in motion by a gentle breeze, hurled him into the depths of his memories. Indiana in the 1950s smelled of steel and struggle. In house number 2300, Jackson Street, the sound of Joseph Jackson's shouts made the walls tremble. "Michael! You messed up again. You think you can hypnotize the audience with those half-hearted moves?" 7-year-old Michael, holding a guitar bigger than himself, hid his tears. The smell of steak wafted from the kitchen, but for the Jackson children, dinner only came after 6 hours of relentless, merciless practice. His kind mother, Catherine, was his only refuge. At night, when Joe was out, Catherine would whisper songs by the Drifters in Michael's small, shared room and tell him stories of Peter Pan. "Mama, how can Peter Pan fly?" "With fairy dust, sweetheart." And by thinking of the happiest thoughts. Michael would gaze at the stars outside his window and wish he could escape through it like Peter, never to grow up. The Jackson 5's first big performance was at the Apollo Theater. 9-year-old Michael, backstage, vomited in the restroom upon hearing the roar of the crowd. Joe held him tightly, but it was a threatening embrace. "If you mess up tonight, you're not allowed to play with those damn dolls of yours for a month." When the spotlight hit him, a miracle seemed to occur. The fear melted away, turning into a brilliant diamond. His voice and "Who's Lovin' You" had such depth and emotion that the hall fell completely silent for a moment, then erupted in explosive applause. That night, backstage, Michael stared at his father's checkbook, full of zeros, with just one question in his mind. "Am I just a money-making machine?" The Westlake studio in Los Angeles became his temple. The young Michael was now producing his own work. Quincy Jones, the legendary producer, recalled, "When Michael played the idea for Billie Jean on the piano, it was like a bolt of lightning hit me. He wasn't just a performer, he was a creative genius." Michael would work for hours on a single dance move. One night, exhausted and lying on the studio floor, he suddenly shouted, "I got it. I can dance like a robot. Like I'm being pulled by strings." These ideas became the core of the revolutionary Billie Jean music video. But his artistic peak was realized in Thriller. Director John Landis remembered Michael insisting that the zombie dance sequence last exactly 14 minutes and 2 seconds. "Why so precise?" Landis asked. "Because I was 14 when I felt alone on stage for the first time. Filming in the old Los Angeles cemetery lasted until dawn." Michael, in heavy werewolf makeup, sat among the actors playing zombies and told them scary stories his mother used to tell. On that cold night, he felt comfortable only among the dead. Neverland Ranch wasn't just a house, it was a parallel universe. Michael personally drew the designs for all the amusement park rides. One night he told his engineer, "I want when the kids get on the train, the mechanical birds should sing with a girly voice, not a boy's voice. A child's world is different from ours." Every morning before sunrise, he would go to his elephant, Bubbles, and sing lullabies to it. But this personal paradise was invaded by the outside world. During one of the parties, Jordan Chandler, a boy Michael loved like a son, was playing with the electric train. Michael sat next to him and said, "You know, I always wished my father would play with me." He paused, then continued, "But you're luckier, because I'll always be here for you." This innocent, fatherly relationship later turned into a horrific accusation in court. It was 1993. Michael was on the dangerous tour in Bangkok when his lawyer called him with the news. "A family has filed a complaint against you." His world crumbled in the blink of an eye. Painkillers became his only refuge. The interrogation sessions were like a recurring nightmare. Police officers forced him to strip naked to check for marks. Michael later wrote in his memoirs, "That day, I was not a superstar, but a slave in a Roman market. They took the last shred of my dignity." Although he was never found guilty, the cost of the out-of-court settlement bankrupted him. Neverland, this dream castle, was held hostage. During one dark night, Michael was working on a new song. Tears dripped onto the sheet music as he sang, "They wanna get my ass, dead or alive." You know, he really tried. This song later became known as D.S., a track in which he explicitly named the district attorney as a satanic man. The year of salvation. The year of This Is It. Michael stood in the rehearsal hall at the Staples Center. He was 50 years old, but his eyes still held the same childish passion. "It has to be perfect, my friends. Perfect. This is my final farewell to my fans." He led his army of dancers and musicians like a general. He explained to the set designer exactly how the moonlight looked on summer nights in Gary so they could recreate it precisely on stage. On the night of June 24, after an exhausting 4-hour rehearsal, his personal doctor, Conrad Murray, administered propofol. As Michael sank into an artificial sleep, he whispered, "I have to go rehearse, the kids are waiting." But he never woke up. The next day, his brother Jermaine broke down the door and found his body on the bed. Next to the bed were detailed plans for an amusement park in Dubai, and on the table, an unfinished letter to his children. "My darlings, when you grow up, know that your father always tried to make the world a happier place for you." Today, Michael Jackson's voice resonates from the speakers of every cafe, through the headphones of every teenager, and in every dance hall. He won over 800 awards, but his greatest achievement was this. He taught us that you can be a light, even amidst the darkness. His dance on the moonlight is forever recorded. The king of pop is gone, but his legend will never die. For love never grows so old that it forgets the memory. So, what can we learn from Michael Jackson's story, in terms of English? First, perseverance. He started very young and never gave up. Just like learning a language, it takes time and practice. Second, breaking boundaries. His music was loved by people all over the world, no matter their language. Your English can also be a tool to connect with the world. And finally, finding your voice. Michael had a unique style. Don't be afraid to find your own unique voice in English. Keep practicing, keep singing your song, and you will shine. Thank you for watching. What's your favorite Michael Jackson song? What did you learn from his story? Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more inspiring stories.